Hello, this is a review of the Onkyo Granbeat for the South China Morning Post. Onkyo, and if you haven't heard of them, they're a Japanese brand that specializes in making products for audiophiles. So we're talking about amplifiers, digital audio players, just really high quality audio stuff for audiophiles. So as you can see, this is a phone that doesn't look like any other phone out there. That's because the design, it's actually taken from Onkyo's previous device, a really high-end digital audio player called a DP-CMX1. This looks just like that device, except it has smartphone capabilities inside. So as you can see, the dedicated buttons like you would find on your old Walkman or CD player to play music, play, fast forward, back, and there's a volume dial here. So what that means is I can play music without having to turn on the screen. So right now I'm playing Radiohead on lossless files right now, and I can increase the volume or decrease the volume all while the screen is off. And obviously, because this is an audiophile phone, there are two headphone jacks: a 3.5mm, which is for all the normal people out there. Like all of us have headphones with 3.5mm jack, but audiophiles, they use a 2.5mm jack because that jack has an extra stripe, extra pole. Hold on, let me grab a sample. So this is a 3.5mm jack that all of us use. As you can see, there's only 3 poles. On a 2.5mm jack, there's an extra line, extra pole that allows for the headphones to play music files in higher frequency. So this will have audiophiles covered. And this phone, as you can see, it's quite hefty. It's pretty bulky. It's built like a brick. It weighs 234 grams, which is quite heavy. The screen is 5 inches, 1080p, and the processor is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 650. There's 3 gigs of RAM in there and 128 gigs of onboard storage. So as you can see, the specs aren't the most amazing. Snapdragon 650 is pretty old, and the screen is only 1080p, which is not on par with most of the Android flagships, but it's good enough. So the screen the colors are vibrant, and it gets bright enough that when you step outside in the sun, you can still read it. So 1080p is more than enough, and Snapdragon 650, it's enough to just play music, obviously, and also go on the web and go on Facebook. And I play Mario Run on it, and it ran fine. But then when I try to play Mortal Kombat X, which is a much more graphic intensive game, this phone couldn't handle it. It stuttered. So it's not the most powerful phone out there. But you're not buying this phone as a smartphone anyway. You're buying this because you want to play audiophile quality music, and this phone handles that in every way. So on a phone like this, you're not going to use MP3s, which is like the compressed audio files. You're going to use FLAC, lossless, which it supports, and also this phone also supports AAC, WAV, DSD, and MQA. MQA stands for Master Quality Authenticator. It's like a new technology developed to stream high resolution music. So on Jay-Z's streaming service, Tidal, that's what it uses. So that's a bunch of acronyms that normal people probably have never heard of, but audiophiles, they will hear those acronyms and be like, wow, that's amazing. So this phone sells for about 6,000 Hong Kong dollars, and sells for 6,000 Hong Kong dollars, and there's 128 gigs of storage inside with expandable memory. They have 2 slots actually, so you can put 2 SD cards in there of up to 200 gigs each. So combined, that's 200 plus 124 in there, so that's 524 gigs of storage. Basic smartphone function. This phone runs Android 6.0, which is quite dated, but they left everything clean enough. They changed how the navigation button works, but otherwise everything else looks like stock Android. So everything runs pretty smoothly. The camera, let's go to the gallery. Give me a second. Wait, they don't even. Okay, so as you can see, the camera it takes okay photos. So I'm gonna show a comparison really quick. So this is not gonna be a fair fight because I'm comparing this to the Samsung Galaxy S8, but I took these both outside my room, and as you can see, it looks quite dark on the Granbeat. The camera is 16 megapixels, so it's enough megapixels for details. If you zoom in, you can see that it's quite detailed, but the camera obviously doesn't capture photos, doesn't capture lighting as well as a Galaxy S8. But again, it's not a fair fight because this phone is not meant to be a camera phone anyway. But other photos that I took, they look pretty decent. Under proper lighting condition, they look pretty decent. So the camera, it's serviceable. It's not going to be anything that will blow your mind, but so overall, as a smartphone, little things doesn't quite feel that great. Like the corners are a bit too thick. I mean too sharp. So when I'm using the phone, it really digs into your palm sometimes. And also the power button to turn off the screen, it's a little bit small. And plus, if I'm left-handed, so it's hard to hit it for me. So it's a lot harder to turn off the screen than on any other phone. And the biggest question is though, does this phone sound better than every other phone out there? So I'm not quite an audiophile, but at the same time, I would like to think my music taste is a little bit above the average Joe. I'm not just streaming music off YouTube and using the crappy Apple earbuds that come with the iPhone. So I have a Japanese headphone Nakamichi, I have a set of Bose SoundLink, and I have a Beats, these are a bit overrated, but you know they're expensive headphones, so to speak. So none of these are true audiophile headphones, but there are pretty pricey headphones, and I used all three to listen to music on this. Listen to Radiohead and FLAC. FLAC is lossless audio, and it sounded really great, a lot better than on an iPhone or on a Samsung phone. But I couldn't tell the difference between the sound on this and the sound on an LG V20, because the LG V20 also has a DAC, has a high quality DAC, and the sound, I couldn't tell the difference. They both played music at 24 bit and at up to 124 kilohertz. So these are really high specs. So I couldn't tell the difference, but maybe a true audiophile can. So is the sound better than every other phone out there? It's better than most, not all. And for $6,000, I think it's worth it if you're an audiophile and you have a 2.5 millimeter headphone jack and you just want like a product that can play all your music files. But to the average Joe, I don't think this is a phone that you'll want to spend money on. So that's the review. Thanks for watching.